What is up, everyone? This is C, back with another video. Before I kick off today's video, as always, I want to remind every single person, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel. Let's keep blowing the C channel up. All right, let me get some water before I start. For those who have not seen my content before, I like to speak with some notes off to the side, so I remember everything I want to tell you guys. So, without further ado, the title of my talk today is, if you're an American, you're probably lonely. So, if you've been following the news, other YouTubers, YouTube videos have covered this topic. There's a loneliness epidemic happening in America, and I'm going to talk about it, the reasons why I think there is a loneliness epidemic happening, and I'm going to just give you guys maybe some tips to cope with loneliness. So stay tuned until the end of the video for those tips that I'm going to give you guys. All right, let's start talking. So I think one thing that we need to be cognizant of is, for thousands of years, so I'm a first generation immigrant, just so you guys know. I wasn't born in the U.S. I came to the U.S. when I was very young, and I'm Latino, so we live differently than most people in America. Immigrants, I mean. So for thousands of years, we've lived in groups, tribes, families, and there were way more social connections than what I see when I'm in the United States, because, as many of you might know, I travel quite a bit, and I leave, I come back. I was living in Latin America for a while before I came back a couple of months ago. So for thousands of years, we've been living life in groups and tribes, families. And in the US, most people, as adults, a lot of people live by themselves. There's way less social connection. So we're in a developed country that's essentially isolating people. Most people on Earth still live in groups, families, tribes. Loneliness is a first world problem. A lot of people in third world, less developed countries don't feel lonely. You know, there's not, and let's chip away at that. Let's think about that a bit more. One thing that I observe and I see as a Latino, you know, I'm Latino. I'm a first generation immigrant, like I mentioned. Latinos and other immigrants, we're different than what your average American is like. We're less individualistic. We're more about groups. We're more about families, friends, partners, relationships. We're more social as well. So we're more prone to, you know, like not being alone. The U.S. is a very individualistic, me, I culture. And I see it even myself when I take a trip abroad. I feel at home, and then I come back to the U.S. where everybody is just by themselves. I'm in New York. Nobody talks to each other for the most part. It's very isolated, and everything is, you kind of don't feel like cohesion, social cohesion when you're in the US. You just don't, you know. So I think that's leading to loneliness. People don't feel like they belong to a group, a community, a family. That's because those things are disappearing. If you think of families are starting to dwindle. People aren't having kids. Shocker. What do you think that's going to happen? What effect that's going to have? People are going to feel alone because they don't have a partner. They don't have a kid. They don't have a child. Why do we decide to, you know, why do we decide to promote all these individualistic ideals in first world countries? I don't know. Maybe capitalism. Maybe it's a way of controlling us. I need to be careful too with what I say on the tube, because I don't want to get shadow banned. But these are things to think about. Who really benefits from people being single? That's food for thought. Is it people trying to sell you things? Maybe, right? Um, so loneliness has been a topic that people have been talking about and mentioning, because people in first world developed countries feel lonely. I mentioned this in one of my previous videos. So let me just tell you guys real quick. A few years ago, I had a almost 6-figure job. I was much more successful. I had way more going on financially, more shiny toys in my life, more dating options, etc., etc. And I lived alone, and I felt lonely. I worked remotely, and I felt lonely. And this was during the pandemic, which was a time when you had to stay at home. You couldn't really go out and socialize. It was harder to meet people and make friends. So I felt lonely. I actually went through a bout of anxiety because I just didn't feel connected to community, friends, family, and whoever I was dating. I didn't really feel connection. and those were factors. Like I said, the whole being on the hamster wheel and just focusing on money, making money. The working from my house, where I couldn't leave the house for 8 to 10 hours because I was just working. When I would leave the house, it'd be hard. I still made an effort to meet people because I'm pretty social, but even then it was hard during the pandemic in large cities, in New York City, because things were locked down. Everybody was wearing a mask. It was tough to socialize. It was very hard. Let me get a sip of water. Whereas in other countries, people were in groups, they were socializing, they had community, family, friends. They were in more close-knit environments than we were in first world developed countries. The Surgeon General said this in, I don't know if it was, I saw it, and I just want to read it out loud because I found it interesting. You can feel lonely even if you have a lot of people around you. Loneliness is about the quality of your connections. So loneliness is about the quality of your connections. I think in first world countries, we're too technology oriented, and technology makes it, and yeah, I get the irony. I'm talking to you guys on YouTube through a computer screen, but it's much harder to make real, it's much harder to make real social connections and strong connections through a computer, through a phone, on Facebook. Like, people need to get out of the house and forge real relationships with people. And that happens in person. You need to make an effort. You need to go to a place. You need to chat with somebody. You need to have a conversation with someone. It's way too easy. And there's just almost no effort when you try to do it from your house. I'm 35. So I remember, and I tell people this, I remember when I was in college, I got my first cell phone, which was a dumb phone. And in 2006, when I was a freshman in college, and when we millennials, I'm a millennial, when we wanted to socialize, when I wanted to socialize, I had to leave my dorm room. I had to go to a party. I had to go to the common area in the dorm I lived in to see who was hanging out there. I had to go somewhere. I had to chat with somebody. I had to socialize. People do that from their house now, and there's no cost to it. No cost. I'm not the best social dynamics person, so I'm not gonna go into all the theory and all the words, but there's no cost and there's no risk. You take a risk when you try to socialize with people. Let me talk about capitalism. I think capitalism contributes to loneliness because when you spend your time, and most of your time, just pursuing money and going after dollars, productivity, making more money, buying more things, you don't leave time. You don't leave time for socializing, for connecting with people, for getting to know people, for meeting people. You just don't have that time because you're on the wheel, the hamster wheel, and you're just Money, 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 things, money, 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 money. I guarantee you can find a lot of old millionaires who are lonely. You can probably find a bunch of young millionaires who are lonely. Are they happy? I don't think they are. I'd rather be a poor or modest, socially connected guy than a rich, lonely guy any day of the week. So here are some tips. So if you guys get anything from me, I want to be that guy on YouTube who isn't telling you guys. I'm not here to tell you about side hustles, how to make more money, how to get more dates. If you get anything from me, it's to be social, try to meet people, try to make friends, because I think you'll be happier in that scenario versus all the other ones. We need to connect more with people. We're losing our touch in first world countries. We're not engaging. We're not connecting. We're very polarized. I think we need more social connection. So try to chat with somebody in a class. Guys, if you're in a public place and there's a girl you like, in a respectful way, ask her out. If you're, I don't know, walking around, have small talk, like try to be more social just in general. Don't neglect family. Don't neglect friends. Get off your phone. Get off your computer. Leave the house. Do all these things, and I guarantee you, you'll feel less lonely. It's hard. There's a lot of effort that you need to put into it, but I think you'd rather be that socially happy person as opposed to that person who's just at home playing video games, or you just have a bunch of people that you talk to through your phone or your computer. All right. That's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. As always, do not forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I will be back with more videos. This is C signing out.